Good morning. I want to create a video today to demonstrate what I think is the proper way to stow a CAT-T tourniquet, especially for when we're planning on potentially using that tourniquet to provide self-treatment to ourselves in the event of injury sustained. I wanted to create this video to be a resource that will just stay on YouTube, stay online for students that I have to fall back on. I know sometimes I kind of talk quick, sometimes I feel like maybe I confuse people, but I'm going to go ahead and commit this to video today. Just like anything, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I have my own preferences, and that's mainly what I'm going to fall back on when I'm teaching, when I'm instructing. There's probably more than one way to do this. I'm going to show you what I find to be the best way that works for me. And a lot of other guys are employing these. I mean, I learned things from somewhere. All right, some things I came up on my own, but a lot of things that I do, I learned these from somebody else, and I just want to pass them down. With that said, I'm going to do just a brief review of some different tourniquet types that we have out there. I'm going to take that opportunity now. We got this is a standard CAT-T tourniquet, right? We know them when we see them because they've got well, this is an older generation CAT-T, but the white time-stamped sort of windlass lock to keep the windlass from falling out. They were making these white for a while. Now on the newer models, they make them gray, but we have the ability to write with an indelible marker here. It says time, and that's the time that we applied the tourniquets. That's good information for surgeons to know, the docs to know once we get these patients delivered in hospital. So yeah, CAT-T tourniquet made out of some sort of plastic, and it's Velcro, very lightweight. This is the most widely distributed in the military today. The other more common type is the Soft-T tourniquet, which a lot of the construction is the same as far as the mechanical device is concerned. It's got a strap that we buckle down, which we must fully tighten, and then we're going to turn our windlass to optimize the pressure down on the extremity to create a complete obliteration of the distal circulation. This is a favorite of mine when I'm treating somebody else, because it is made of some sort of aircraft grade aluminum. I'm not exactly sure of the components, I just know this is a very durable tourniquet. The construction is definitely more robust than on the CAT-T per se. Another new kid on the block is this guy. This is the RMC, Ratchet Medical Tourniquets. Kind of got this, break this so I can, there we go, fully tightened out. Again, it's got a strap, so it's going to go over the extremity. We're going to tighten the strap down as tight as we can. And then just like we find on a snowboard binding, instead of a windlass, it's got a ratchet strap that tightens up to create circumferential pressure over the extremity to create that obliteration of the distal pulse to stop bleeding in an extremity. And then I think this one's become a favorite of many people. I've seen more than a handful of LEOs running around with these now, these RATS-T tourniquets. I have never applied one to a true injury yet. I have applied these multiple times in training. I've ran through probably close to 500-600 students that have used these multiple times throughout our training courses. There are some pluses and minuses to this tourniquet. My recommendation is I keep one of these on me. I like the versatility of them. What I like about these is I can apply them to a young child or a small adult if I needed to. They are nice, nifty. They can be stowed anyway. This can go inside your pockets, wherever you can stow it. I've even seen folks that will run these through a rifle sling and just have, say, this portion protruding out the top of the rifle sling. That way when it's needed, it quickly comes out. I've seen people run them around their belts. I've got a buddy who likes to wear his down his pant leg, and he uses the aluminum piece to kind of clip into a belt loop, pull his shirt over it. Nobody knows he has it, but he's always got it handy. A couple things that I'm going to caution on. Number one, this is not committee approved. It hasn't completely gone through the testing process, which I think a lot of us are wondering, where is this testing process at? I would say that this does have a lot of use. Like I said, it's like a one-size-fits-all. It's small. The guys in, say, the low pro world like this. You could be wearing your nice suit and tie, looking like a clean-cut guy, rolling around with your, as an executive protection officer, agent. This is nice. This can stow anywhere. Nice little tourniquet to break out. The one thing that I will caution, though, there's little doubt in my mind that this is going to be of no use on a lower extremity on an adult, patient. I just don't think there's enough material to get around the extremity enough to create that complete obliteration of the distal pulse. So with that said, we can bark about tourniquets later. These are just some of the more common ones. My individual preference, like I said, I do keep these for my smaller adults, smaller children. My preference, just for Damon Fiore, is the soft T tourniquets. I like the versatility of it as a provider if I'm treating somebody else. I just like a lot of the features on it. It's definitely more robust. This isn't going to break before the Cat T fails. With that said, the Cat T, there's really nothing wrong with the tourniquet. They can break. I've actually got an example here. This was a Gen 7 Cat T tourniquet. I typed this from a training thing that I did. As you can see here, the throw of the tourniquet, this is where the windlass bar used to be attached, similar to how this one is here. Student that I was training, I think this probably underwent 8 or 9 evolutions in training. Eventually, boom, the windlass broke off. Well, what broke was the throw, the webbing inside the tourniquet. That broke off, windlass came out in his hand, and the pitfall that he ran into, he didn't get this strap tightened all the way prior to turning the windlass bar. Most of the time, it shouldn't take more than 2.5 to 3.5 complete revolutions, so 360 degrees at a time. It shouldn't take more than 2.5 to 3.5 of those revolutions to create the cessation that you're looking for. Now, this guy was going 6, 7, 8, 9 times. If you find yourself doing that, un-F yourself, go back, start over. The mistake that he made, he didn't have the strap tightened up all the way. So with that said, I want to talk about how to properly stow this tourniquet, how to properly fold it to make it optimal for self-treatment. Now, there's a lot of time that can be lost. We sustain a gunshot wound, say to one of our extremities, say upper extremities. That's going to require a one-handed technique. Now, going back to, I said I have a preference for the soft T tourniquet when I'm treating somebody else. For self-treatment, I keep these Cat Ts rigged on any type of armor that I wear, on my gun rig, my pistol rig. I keep a soft T handy, Cat T handy. The reason for that is this Cat T that you see rigged on my gear, this is for me. In the event that I'm going to need it, I'm going to need it to self-apply. The soft T, and you're going to have to go to some training and play with these things. I don't want to get all the way into the weeds with this video. But the soft T in single-handed use just doesn't quite work the way that we want it to. This is the optimal tourniquet for self-application, one-handed, single-handed use. So with that said, you get these guys in the package from North American Rescue or Chinook, wherever you're ordering them from, and hopefully you're not ordering them off of Amazon or eBay. Watch out for that. Don't do that. There's a lot of counterfeits out there. and they're just inferior tourniquets. I wouldn't want, you find a good deal, it's probably too good to be true. Nonetheless, when you get these, do not leave these in the packaging and then try to stow them on your gear. They don't come in a ready state. That cellophane, in the event that you take a bullet wound through the arm, and God forbid you're in a real tactical situation, that cellophane is not going to become your friend. The way that this comes prepackaged, it's not in a ready state. You're going to lose upwards of a minute just trying to get this thing, I'm just going to say unfucked, to where you can now start applying it. You hit a major pipe, like your brachial artery or femoral artery, that minute is very precious time that you're losing. So with that said, you get these, get them out of the package, get them out nice and straight. These time tabs, I see a lot of folks when they're done, because they want it to look clean, they'll put this time tab over the windlass bar and then stow it. Well, there you go. There's just another pitfall. Once I get this thing into position, and I'll demo here in a minute, oh, fuck. And you got to pull this off, get this up and out of your way so you can get the windlass to lock into the device. Set yourself up for success on the front end. Get this stowed and out of the way to begin with. Now, take the tourniquet. Again, with this windlass, you got the windlass bar, and then inside there is the throw of the tourniquet. That's the actual part that cinches up to create the pressure that you're looking for to knock out the distal pulse. Make sure that there's no twists in that this windlass bar runs freely. And you know what? I'm going to throw some more light in here. It's probably going to be bad for me, but good for you guys, so you can see exactly what I'm doing. All right. So again, here's the throw. Make sure this windlass bar, there's no twists in here. It's real easy to have just one twist in there. You don't, as you can see what I just did, you don't want that, okay, as you stow it, because you're just, that's not a ready state. Get this out, make sure this spins freely, or moves through the throw freely. You got two sides to this tourniquet, as you can see here. You got a Velcro side, and then on the back side, you got a nylon side. All right, here's the back body of the tourniquet. This is the skin side. This is the outer side. Have the outer side pointing away from you, as such. Hold the single route buckle up. Grab the tail of the tourniquet. You're going to note it's got a red tab on the end. Come through. We want to pass through the buckle, and we want to pull ourselves about 6 to 10 inches. Now we want to marry Velcro to Velcro, as such. See what I did? So about 6 to 10 inches, however big you think you are, marry it up, Velcro to Velcro. There we go. That's step one. Now, we want to create some sort of pull tab on this, so when we deploy this out of our kit and ready to use, we've got a very identifiable area that we're looking to now grab to get the tourniquet up and over our extremity and cinch it down. Now there's two ways of doing this. I'm going to show you both ways, because depending on your rigging, depending on your holster, whatever device you're using to carry this, you maybe need to learn both ways. I was part of a training deal back in Illinois a year and a half ago, where the Springfield Police Department bought their officers these nice Kydex holsters, real clean, matched their gear, that they were using to stow the cat keys that they were issued. Now, that holster had a very particular way it wanted this tourniquet loaded in. So I had to kind of finagle a couple of different ways. I finally found a way that seemed optimal to where these guys could get it in there all the way, enough to where they could pull the hood over and snap the device down. That way it's nice and clean and they're good to go. So, and then I'm going to discuss that here quickly. So one of the more conventional ways is to take this very distal end of the tourniquet, the red tab. If you feel on these cat tees, there's a hard piece of plastic in here. Bend that down on itself. So now the tourniquet looks somewhat like this. So now as I come out to deploy this, I can look, I grab the part that I folded over. I know that that's where I want to go. I get this tourniquet up as high as I can on my extremity, rip it out, get this as tight as I can, and then I can get to go into town on the windlass. Now, again, with some of these devices, meaning the carriers that you're going to hold these in, it may not accept the tourniquet in this ready state with the distal end of the tail pulled over. I think what I did was on that Kydex holster, I found maybe a slightly different way. Again, so with the Velcro side facing away from you, you're looking at the nylon side. Take this distal end, come up, pull yourself about 6 to 10 inches, marry it down on itself. Now instead of going for this distal end, we're going to go up near the buckle. Now I'm just merely going to take about an inch of fabric and pinch it over itself just above the buckle. So instead of having this distal end, I'm up here. Now as I stow this tourniquet, boom, it can go into my holster. As I pull this out, I'm looking for that piece right there. I get this up high and tight on my shoulder, and I just achieved the same thing. So, two different ways, but you should have some sort of tab. And you should, guys, definitely train doing this. I'm a big fan of doing downed officer drills at least once a year where you're shooting offhand, you're racking your slide either off of your rig, your belt rig, down off your foot, whatever your flavor. I like to do those downed officer drills or downed operator drills at least once a year. I think you're a retard if you just take the initial training you had at the academy and you never practice it again. Your life can depend on it. But as you're doing that, why don't you get your tourniquet out, kind of play with that a little bit. Practice how you're going to do this. Set yourself up for the optimal way. You should be able to deploy this thing in about 30 seconds is the goal. From out of the holster, identifying injury, out of the holster, up and over, cinch it down, and then go to town on the windlass. Anyway, getting back to it. I'm going to cover this one more time. Take tourniquet. Again, you've got this Velcro side on the front end. This is away from your skin. And then you've got the nylon side. There's the back of the windlass bar. This is the skin side. Take your distal tail, run it through, grab yourself 6 to 8 inches, and then however, again, if you want to put your pull tab up here near the buckle, or if you want to put it on the distal end, it's all going to be dependent upon your preference and the preference of your carrier. Bend the tab over. So you now have that. Now, here is where everybody makes the mistake, and this is why we're doing what we're doing right now. As you can see here, I've got now, if I look at the back side of this tourniquet, I've got 50% of it is nylon, 50% is Velcro. This is what I want to see. This way, when I bend this half over, now at this point, this tourniquet is pretty much in a ready state. It's ready to be dropped into our holster or whatever carrying device we are going to have. I prefer a quick snatch where it's basically kind of like rubber bands but with a retainer clip that will easily break off. I just rip this off of my kit. I can come in here, I can see where I'm at. I grab my pull tab. Pull tab always goes to the inside of my body. This comes in my arm, boom, I go to town. Now, the pitfall that people have with this. Again, I've got 50% nylon, 50% Velcro. What I don't want is when I'm on the back side of this and I'm seeing Velcro on Velcro. And I see my students do this repeatedly. They'll marry it up as such. That seems nice and tight, seems all good to go. Then they stow it on their kit. Now when you pull this out, now look at it. That Velcro is now stuck to each other. That's more of that valuable time that you're having to take to spin this out. You're losing blood on the ground. That's what we're trying to prevent. It becomes problematic. Set yourself up for success. So again, as we run through it, I'm not going to run through the single route buckle again. I've got 50% nylon, 50% Velcro. This is going to marry up to the nylon. That way when I bring it out, it doesn't stick. I've got a nice big loop that I should easily get around my arm, maybe even around my foot and my boot to get up high onto my thigh in the event that I've sustained a lower extremity injury. Marry it up as such. Put your windlass bar parallel to the body of the tourniquets, and most holsters now take, it will go in this fashion to where all you have sticking up is the time tab and your windlass lock with the windlass bar. When you're ready to use this thing, you can pull it out wherever you have it stowed. Pull it out, find your tab. Remember, tab comes to the inside of your body, so if it's my, in this instance, left extremity that's been damaged, I'm going to get this up as high as I can. And this is imperative. Get this as tight as you can before you even start messing with that windlass bar. A lot of people get into a race. These come in basically 3 steps. You want to get the strap down as tight as you can. Then you want to turn the windlass bar. Again, it should be 2.5 to 3 turns to create that obliteration of the distal pulse. Make sure you lock it in, and then do some, mind this tail. And again, you're probably gonna you have to go to one of my training courses, but the problem is with this tail, even after, all right, so now I'm starting to get pressure on the windlass bar. There's about a half turn. Here's the first full turn, and I don't want to kill myself anymore, but it's going to take probably about another turn to create the complete obliteration that I'm looking for. Once I get it locked in, I want to pull this time tab over, and better yet, before I even do that, safe thing to do, take the tail of this tourniquet, run it through there, and then pull your time tab over. That's going to keep this from breaking free. I'll show you the pitfall here. This thing's on here pretty tight right now, but if I've got this tail kind of running, all it takes is for me to catch something that is Velcro or something that this Velcro is going to stick to, and I just lost my tourniquet. So, okay guys, I didn't really want to make this too long. I felt like there's a lot of information to give. I hope this serves as a guide, and hopefully somebody else at home that wants to stay prepared can see this and learn something from it. Again, Damon, Dark Raven Training Group, thanks for your time, and look forward to seeing you in class. Take care.